Maria. This is my Shayla, Orlando, and Sue. And this is our presentation of Colonial woman Marie Brett Dyer.
And today we're talking about Mary Dyer, who was born on 1160 and died on June 1st, 1616. She was a woman of importance during colonial times. It all started when she was a daughter of Lady Alberta Stewart and Sir William Sr. She was occasional guest of King Charles I. She married William Dyer in October 27, 1633. He was a fishmonger, millionaire, and a Puritan. She moved to Massachusetts in the early 1635, then got admitted into Boston Church on December 13, 1635. She gave birth to 8 children, 2 died in infancy. During 1650 to 1667, she became a Quaker. 1673, she became a supporter of Anne Hutchinson, who preaches that God speaks to each individual and rather than strong through clergy.
So this is when Mary just began her life and she starts to get into marriage. And obviously her husband was a Puritan, but later on they changed their religion. And so then they were like, who were against them, and she gave birth, but people also thought that it was the devil. And they became a supporter of Anne Hutchinson, who was like against the Puritans, and that is very bad. And people were religious back then in the 1600s.
And the story goes on. She joined Hutchinson during the anti-Roman heresy period. She worked in organized groups of men and women of any races, to study the Bible, conservation of the theoretical law of Massachusetts Bay Colony. She gave birth to a deformed child, which that child was accused of being so-called the devil, and so they basically killed him. Hudson and Dyer was banished from Massachusetts in January 1638. After the banishment, Williams gained 87 acres of their land, serving as secretary for the towns in Portsmouth and Newport in 1640 through 1647. Next then, she was the general records and attorney general in the 1650 through 1653.
And so this is when she progressed more into her life, and she starts to become part of a religious group with Anne Hutchinson, who is like her role model. She gave birth to a deformed child, which was very, because it was deformed and people thought that it was devil-like. And they did not like that fact. And so later on they were banished and the child was discovered and it was revealed, making their reputation even worse. However, when they went to Rhode Island, William's status became higher because he was secretary for towns, and later on he became general reporter and eventually attorney general.
So in 1650, Mary was unhappy with her life in Rhode Island, so she moved to England all by herself. Then she joined the society group of friends, also known as Waver. After hearing his father, George Fox Bridges. Then during the same year, William, her husband, joined her, but he returned to Rhode Island in 1652. In 1657, Mary returned to New England. John Etiquette was a governor, and he really intolerant of religious dissension. Mary was arrested but released by her husband because he gave his honor that she would never return to Massachusetts again.
Okay, and so then she wasn't very happy with her life in Rhode Island, possibly because of the religious discrimination, and so she moved to New England all by herself, leaving William behind. And then she joined the Quakers, which you all know is rebellious against the Puritans. And then later on, her husband joined her, but he left her probably because he didn't like her very much, and he's probably religious, and he's Puritan, so yeah. And then in 1657, Mary returned to New England
for preaching in her life, and that men and women have equal rights in church worship and organization. Mary was forced to return to Rhode Island and went to Long Island to preach. She went to Massachusetts, however, ended up passing the police and was convicted and sentenced to death. She was buried in Boston later on.
And so, in the end, she still continued to preach Quakerism, but she was arrested in 1886 and expelled from New Haven for preaching in her life. And that is the opposite of what the religion is teaching you. And so she was discriminated and hated. And so Mary was forced to remove to Rhode Island and went to Long Island in New York to preach because she has nowhere else to go. But although she was banished from Massachusetts, she returned there and she was convicted and sentenced to death, even though her husband bled for her that she doesn't come back. And she was buried in Boston Common and in a marked grave because no one cared about her. The end.